wrong thing, and we search from day one. If your bid opening process is wrong, if you didn't do it at all, that's already a criminal issue.
The moment they collect contract, they won't perform. They will get that mobilization. The next, they will delay implementation. Then they are high rising in cost of materials. Will go there. Then the next, they come for affiliation. They will tell you we can't do it. Most of the day, who cause it? The delay always come by MDAs.
Hello and welcome. This is Transparency Files. I am Murna Barnabas Atiaye. Transparency in the public procurement refers to the quality of being open, clear, and honest in all interactions, transactions, and decision-making processes of the public procurement systems. Prior to the enactment of the Public Procurement Act 2007, the World Bank's Country Procurement Assessment Report had indicated that for every contract and 1 naira that was awarded in Nigeria, 60 kobo was lost to underhand activities of players in the procurement process. Today on Transparency Files, we shall be looking at how we can attain a transparent procurement process of the government ministries, departments, and agencies. Also today on our youth segment, we shall be speaking to Habib Ahmed on corruption, sexual harassment, and gender-based violence, plus reports of activities from our state offices. But first, Ruth Awadi is here with anti-corruption update. It's over to you, Ruth.
Thank you for staying with us. I am Ruth Awodi with Anti-Corruption Stories. The chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu SAN, has explained why the commission, under his leadership, is focusing more on strengthening its prevention mandate. Speaking at a one-day national policy dialogue on anti-corruption organized by the Center for Media Policy and Accountability, CMPA, the ICPC boss noted that experience has shown that preventive measures have helped to reduce corrupt practices, just as he stressed the need for effective collaboration from all stakeholders so that the preventive approaches being put forward by anti-corruption agencies could be strengthened.
Even the prevention we are talking about, when you look at most of the corruption we are having now, usually you have the procurement. And you cannot do it alone. If you reach out to the people, they will be able to help you in sharing information and also give you some expertise that you can be able to block some of the things that has been done, which is much more cheaper for you than to allow things to happen and for you to go over. I will give you an example. There is a case which we are investigating. It was DPP that gave us an idea, because it is something that has to do with training. And it's through them we're able to understand that, look, even initially, DPP has given advice that don't do this thing, do this thing. And if we say, okay, let us start doing it alone, it will take us a long period of time. But because of what we did, also we were able to block certain things and made recovery. We blocked about $300,000 in one of the accounts. And also we recover expensive vehicle which the money was used.
On his part, Mr. Kole Shetima, director of MacArthur Foundation, West Africa, and keynote speaker at the event, highlighted the 4 elements and agenda the foundation was pursuing to engender accountability and transparency in the bid to stem corruption vices.
When you say you are going to fight corruption, you can do so many things, or you can do one thing, whatever thing you want to do. From our judgment, we thought that we should do 4 things. The first one, which I think is in some ways aligned with some of the work that both ICPC and ACC are doing, one, we thought we need an independent media. We need a very strong investigative journalism in our country. The second work that we do, which is around behavioral change. Because we think that it is very important that this work that we are doing around anti-corruption and integrity and accountability should also have a behavioral behavioral change component to it. Behavioral change component to it in terms of how is our entertainment industry portraying our society? What is our faith is saying about corruption and accountability? The third element of the work that we do is really around the criminal justice system. And this is very critical, very important, and that's where the anti-corruption agency that has been here, all of them come in. And the element of that work is really how do we strengthen the criminal justice system so that it does the work that it wants to do, is supposed to do. The fourth and the last element of the work that we do is around the support for civil society groups and organizations. And here also is try to see how can we support various organizations to do the campaigns, to draw our public attention to some of the challenges that people are facing, to advance new laws and regulations, new policies, and I think that are critical and very important.
In a related development, the chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN, has said fighting corruption at global level would boost Africa's ecosystem. Dr. Aliyu, represented by the Secretary to the Commission, Mr. Clifford Okudiri Okparodu, DSSRS, made this charge when the delegation of the Office of the Attorney General, Republic of Mozambique, paid an experience-sharing tour to the Commission's facilities recently. The ICPC boss harped on the importance of collaboration and exchange of ideas amongst anti-corruption agencies globally, noting that such collaboration would prevent and fight corruption for a more effective anti-corruption policy.
It is important that we all put heads together. Just like you have said that you have come to Nigeria to learn from our experience. It's not only one side. We will learn from you too. We will definitely learn from you because there may be some scenarios or some of the things that may have happened in your own area that will not happen here. And if you have similar situation, we use your own experience and the way and manner you tackle it to handle it. So it's a two-way thing. In all, where it becomes a problem is when it's transnational, when it moves from one country to the other. In that case, you will need the experience, you need the collaboration of the other country, both in preventing the action from happening or for those who have committed their crime and they are fleeing to those countries. So that collaboration comes in.
Earlier in his address, the head of the delegation, Public Prosecutor Mr. Sueta Angelo Manuel, stated that the purpose of the visit to ICPC was to build on existing relationship and explore areas of collaboration. A brief discussion was exchanged on success stories and strategies for fighting high-level corruption, with speakers drawn from ICPC operations and legal departments and among the visitors. That will be all on this segment. Transparency File continues with Murna. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Okay, I'll have that credited to account shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Meanwhile, can you smoothen this edge? Something is not properly done.
Okay, no problem. We'll go do it. Okay, sir. Okay.
Money don't come now. Make we go buy cement.
No, continue.
I don't understand. We need more cement now.
Carry sand, put plenty sand, mix and put the cement. I don't finish.
Make barara. Let's do this thing right. Wait
did they give? What is Megba? See, listen. The money credited to my account is not for cement, oh. It's my own. Even you have a share in it.
Me, I don't take such share.
Okay.
I know they take.
Okay,
Oga?
don't take.
All this building collapse where they happen here and there. Now this kind of attitude, now in the cause when I am called to do mago, I say no to it. It is corruption. Not in my country.
Stop corruption now. Corruption not in my country.
This is Transparency Files. At a recent visit to the Commission, the Director General of the Bureau of Public Procurement, Dr. Adebowale Adiokdokun, sought ICPC's collaboration to combat corruption in the procurement process in MDAs. Let's take a listen.
So I want us to look at how we can jointly work out a mechanism to ensure we prevent. We are also in prevention and, of course, prosecuting. But let us see how we can jointly carry out within every budget year. Shared resources is better. if we put our resources together, we can tap on your specialties. We tap on our specialties to ensure that every single entity knows that from day one of every budget year, if you do the wrong thing, and we search from day one, if your bid opening process is wrong, if you didn't do it at all, that's already a criminal issue. You have the instruments, reports, evaluation reports, tender reports should be taken with all seriousness. Agencies who send evaluation reports should be subjected to a peer review. I hope I'm clear. Yes. Because these are the key part of the procurement process where a lot of things could be done wrongly. Let's pay close attention together. On our side, we should be able to begin to share deep information about outcome of evaluation.
Ensuring transparency and accountability in government business is essential, from preventing fraud and corruption to promoting sustainability in achieving positive outcomes. How do we hold someone accountable for the outcome of their actions? How do we ensure integrity and accountability in procurement processes? Mr. Toye Wahab, a legal practitioner versed in procurement matters, shares his thoughts.
Under Public Procurement Act, let me just cite an example. Under Section 25, he said all the MDAs, before you can embark on award of contract, you must make a public advertisement of the project you want to award. Are you getting my point? And he said you must make that publicity under either international journal, then 2 national news dailies for the next 6 weeks. Making it public, we want to engage services of contractor in these areas, and you have to list them, and they will see it for public and people to respond to it. People who are competent. That is part of transparency. In those days, they don't advertise. You just say they give job to their cronies. But despite that, the fact is being captured by law with enforcement of law. Are they doing it? And the regulator, are they doing what they are supposed to do, right? Because they have to be the checkers on the procuring entity, which is MDAs, because they are the big committer of this error. Are you getting my point? Those are the areas. So there is even ICPC Act, then the FCC Act, because if these 3 regulators are able to synchronize together, that is to say, if you go under Section 60, it divides that once there's an infraction of Public Procurement Act, the regulator, which is the Bureau of Public Procurement, should refer the infractions to relevant security agency for investigation and prosecution. And that was defined under Section 60 of Public Procurement as ICPC, EFCC. Are you getting my point? Which means there's a synergy to work together. So those 3 acts are enough to make our procurement transparent. Even the act itself has some limitations. The act only talks about award. It didn't talk about completion of contract. And the contractors are benefiting from that. The moment they collect contract, they won't perform. They will get that mobilization. The next, they will delay implementation. Then they are high rising in cost of materials. Will go there. Then the next, they come for affiliation. They will tell you we can't do it. Most of the delay will cause it. The delay always comes by MDAs. And so those are the areas. Transparency should be there should be sacred on that. And one of the advocates that we should do e-procurement. Lesser people having contact with the procedure in order to minimize and eliminate corrupt practices. But despite that, it is what we put into the computer that comes out with. There must be a synergy, apart from e-procurement, between the relevant agencies, particularly the security agencies, ICPC, who are for the official misconduct, EFCC, financial crime. Are you getting my point? To put their searchlight on those who be the operators. Are you getting my point? When you even advertise and people make submissions, do you know they can tamper with bid submissions and bringing out price in favor of whom they want him to win something. But once you bring in procurement, such will be eliminated. But despite that, the man in charge of computer, is it not to feed in and feed it out? You know it will reduce, but it still will be there, but not as injurious as we have it today.
ICPC, in fulfillment of the preventive aspect of its mandate, had organized a series of trainings for procurement officers. The trainings, which were designed to address the many questions of integrity, transparency, and accountability in procurement matters in the public sector, was targeted at major players in the procurement industry. Head of Procurement Unit of ICPC, Mr. Shintima Binga, explains ICPC's experience with these trainings.
With regards to procurement integrity, we in ICPC have been up and doing in that regard. Just as you have mentioned, apart from instilling integrity in even the practitioners, the professionals in the unit, the procurement unit, we ensure that we also speak with other MDAs. We bring them together and then give them trainings here and there on how to ensure that integrity is upheld at all times. And then we draw particular attention to the enforcement aspect of it, because infringing on procurement law, it's not without punishment. There are provisions in the Public Procurement Act to punish procurement offenses. In that regard, we make sure that they understand where we are coming from and where we need to go. We also collaborate with the Bureau of Public Procurement to ensure that we get it right. And we're not stopping at the MDAs alone. We also have fora where we bring together even the contractors. Now what we do is that we bring together those that have been bidding in our procurement processes. Some of them who, for one reason or the other, of course, not everybody will be successful in a bid. So we bring them together, one, to let them understand the reasons for their disqualifications. Some of them probably didn't file certain documents that were required. Then some of them deliberately take steps that if I were in some other departments, I would say unlawful. But then, being in procurement, I would say they are just against the procurement process. They lack integrity. So in those instances, we guide them. In fact, in the recent past, we did it in collaboration with Abuja Chamber of Commerce. We brought them together, all the contractors that have been bidding, both successful and non-successful ones. We bring them together and then identify these problems and make sure that they get it right.
You're watching Transparency Files. Welcome to this segment. Sexual harassment and gender-based violence occur when persons in position of authority abuse their office for their personal gain. Section 19 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000 frowns at it. Today, we are looking at the gender-based violence within the context of corruption in workplaces and how to address them. Ahmed Habiba, Communication Officer, Women's Rights Advancement Protection Alternative Rapper, speaks to us on this matter.
If we're going to do a deep dive of how sexual harassment occurs, then we'll understand that corruption is a key player here. in every institution or every setting you find yourself, we have already existing issues like power imbalance, lack of transparency, lack of accountability, judiciary issues. But then what makes it deeper is corruption. Because once there's accountability and the processes are fair and transparent, then we will not have these issues reoccurring or going deeper in our day-to-day life. So coming back to how does corruption links, corruption encourages power imbalance. When he knows there's no accountability, when he knows he can bribe his way through it, why won't he use his position to do more, evil or demand for sex or demand for money? And when he knows that even if he's taken to the legal court, he has a way of, giving bribe and giving money to change the judgment, for the judgment to be in his favor, why won't he do it? It encourages gender-based violence within the school institution.
And before we wrap up this edition, let's bring you up to speed on happenings in ICPC state offices.
From Osun State comes a report that the National Productivity Center, led by its State Director, Mr. Aluko Oyedeji, paid a courtesy visit to the ICPC Osun State to strengthen the collaboration between the two agencies, gesturing a united front in addressing corruption in the state and beyond. The delegation was received by the resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Barrister Hafiz Hassan, who commended the NPC for its dedication to enhancing productivity in Nigeria. Reports from Adamawa State reveals that the resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mr. George James Lowell, represented by Mr. Benjamin Francis, highlighted the strategies that could help tackle job racketeering and financial fraud in ministries, departments, and agencies at a 3-day workshop organized by the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. The state commandant, Mr. Dahiru Idris, urged the participants to make the most out of the workshop and put whatever they learn into practice. From Enugu State comes a report that the resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mr. Kennedy Ebotemen, sensitized the staff members of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund on the role of ICPC and anti-corruption transparency units in building an ethical organization at the Anti-Corruption Sensitization Program organized by the Act of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, themed Corruption Prevention and the Way Forward for the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund. And from Lagos State, Chairman of the ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN, represented by the resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Mr. Kabiru Elelu, has called for enhanced collaboration between the management of Nigerian Institute of Oceanography and Marine Research and the Commission during the inauguration of ACTU in the Institute. The Director General of the Institute acknowledged the significance of ACTU in fostering good governance and assured the units of the Institute's full support.
I am a Nigerian, a highly cultured race. My culture abhors corruption, and with my integrity, a new Nigeria is possible. I say no to corruption today to build a future for my children. Join me and imbibe the culture of integrity to build a Nigeria of our dreams.
Research has shown also that there are more than 56,000 abandoned projects across the length and breadth of the country, worth over 12 trillion naira. These abandoned projects would have bettered the lots of many average Nigerians and created job opportunities for our teeming unemployed youths if the essentials for best practice procurement are strictly observed. That's our package on this edition. Let's join hands together to break the chain of corruption in Nigeria. Thank you for watching. My name is Murna Barnabas Atia.